Hello YouTube, and today I have a very exciting video for you. We are going to do a men's fragrance guide. And so the first thing I want to explain is what notes are when it comes to a fragrance. Maybe I should have started with why it's a good idea to wear cologne, but I'll get to that. So I want you to just look at these cups of hot chocolate, right? Especially the one with the marshmallows and the spoon next to it, right? So I want you to imagine a cup of hot chocolate. And when you're imagining it, you imagine the top layer, right? That has the marshmallows and all the foam, right? Then there's the mid layer, right, which is the majority of the hot chocolate, right? And then when you're finished with the hot chocolate, you get like the base layer, right? And the base layer is the complete bottom layer, like the dark chocolate stuff that still remains and a bit of the sugar if you haven't stirred it in correctly. So fragrances are the same thing. They're composed of many notes and they have 3 layers of notes. And we can just look at one now. So this is a website called Fragrantica, which you really need to join. You don't have to sign up or anything, but it allows you to look at all of the notes of a fragrance. So, for example, this is Mont Blanc Legend, which we are actually going to discuss. So it tells you it's the main accords are fruity, sweet, and woody. Well, it lists other things, but I would mainly say it's fruity, sweet, and a bit woody. And as you can see, you have the top notes, the mid notes, and the base notes. And in the top notes, we have the important ones are really the lavender and pineapple. And the mid notes, you have apple. So to me, what really makes this fragrance unique is pineapple, apple, and lavender. Because pineapple is a scent that's actually very attractive because the most attractive fragrance in the world, arguably the most attractive fragrance in the world, Creed Aventus, its main note is pineapple. So this has that same note, but it's cheaper. So that's one of the things that makes Mont Blanc Legend special. So basically, there's some considerations that we have when when uh, when selecting a fragrance, right? And the first consideration is the budget. So I've listed 4 types of budgets, right? So the first budget is you're paying $50. I'm using Australian dollars. $50 for 200 ml, right? A 200 ml bottle. I would say that's cheap and you're really wasting your money. You might as well not even wear cologne because the performance of the cologne is not going to last very long. Next, you have $50 for 100 ml, and that is the lower mid range, right? So you're definitely going to get better performance, about 4 to 6 hours, as well as good projection on your scent. So it's going to project a decent distance around you, and it's also going to last very long. Then you have $50 for 50 ml, right? I'm not saying you have to buy a 50 ml bottle. I'm basically saying it's $1 per milliliter. That's sort of the higher mid range. Again, better quality means a higher price means better quality. So it's going to last longer, perform better, and smell better. And then lastly, you have 50 ml for $50 for 50 ml, going beyond that. So maybe you're paying $60 for 50 ml, or $70 for 50 ml, or $100 for 50 ml, right? That is the high end. And I have included some examples, right? You have CK1 Shock, which is the cheap, don't buy it. Versace All Fresh, as well as Versace Pour Homme, which is the lower mid-range, which is good, right? It's good. The only problem is a lot of people are in that range, right? A lot of people are in that range. So it's good, but not unique. Then the second, Dolce and Gabbana, the one, I forgot to write about it later, but it's also there. So that is the higher mid-range. That's really where you want to be. The higher mid-range is where you want to be, but it's okay to have a few mid-range, lower mid-range colognes. And then the high range, you have Invictus, where you're paying basically, I think it was meant to be $59 for 50 ml. So what are the considerations you want to have when you're considering buying a cologne? One, is it strong, right? Because you want decent projection. There's no point spraying something on yourself that can't even be smelt, right? And what kind of projection are you looking for? If you stick your arms out in any direction, that is kind of the range we want for a cologne. And if you stick your elbows out, that is the minimum range we want, right? Minimum, at least, someone elbow width away from me should be able to smell it. So that's the projection range we want. We don't want anything more than arm's length, and we don't want anything less than elbow's length. Long lasting, does it at least last 4 hours? Because you have to think about it. Like, if you're going somewhere and it takes you like an hour to get there, and you've only been there for 3 hours, then not even 3 hours, because obviously the scent starts to die down. Like, if it lasts less than 4 hours, it's going to start to die down before that. So basically, you want a scent that's going to last at least 4 to 6 hours minimum, right? Anything less than that, you're really wasting your money. The next thing is scent preference. So basically, the question we're asking is, what kind of scent do you want? There are about 4 types of scents in my classification. You have woody scents, you have fresh scents or citrus scents, and then you have sweet scents. The fourth one, I forgot what it was, but those are the 3 most important categories. And what preference do you have? And the reason I say that's important is because with cologne, there's really a lot that you have to choose from. So you shouldn't burden yourself by wearing a scent that you hate in order, just so you can get women, right? It's really shooting yourself in the foot. It's kind of like sometimes when women wear really, really high heels or small shoes that are crushing their feet just to seem more attractive, when really, if they wore more comfortable shoes, they could still get the same level of attraction, if not more, and they wouldn't be in pain. But again, we're not telling telling them or saying that you wear gumboots. If you're a woman, wearing gumboots like is not an option. So we're not saying wear ugly shoes. We're saying wear something that doesn't mess up your legs. I'm not telling women what to wear. It's just in the example, right? So with men, it's the same thing. Don't get carried away by a scent that is really good, but to you, you find it disgusting, because there's no point wearing it at all. Fourth is it easy to decant, right? And what I mean by that is, decanting is when you get a small spray bottle and you can pump some of the fragrance into that tiny bottle, right? Into the atomizer. Let me just show you what a fragrance atomizer is. Fragrance atomizer. these are fragrance atomizers. So, the tiny bottles, very, very tiny, like these are the size of someone's finger, for example, right? You want to put your fragrance into those bottles when you go outside the house, because you don't want to carry a whole, like 200 ml bottle in your backpack or bag or pocket, right? You want something small. So maybe let's say you're going to play a game of basketball and you're going to shower afterwards, right? Or maybe, it's been a long day at the office and you don't want to head home directly, you want to head over to someone's house, or you're meeting a date. Again, you don't want to carry the whole bottle. That's just a lot of baggage, because an atomizer can fit in your pocket. So some bottles you can't take off the top, so it's difficult to decant them into the atomizer. So you kind of want to avoid that because it's a bit pointless, right? Some of the other preferences could even be the shape of the bottle. Like, is it see-through? Is it transparent or translucent? Because you want to be able to see how much of the fragrance you have left for many purposes. Maybe you just want to know when you're running out, or you want to sell it to a friend, or you want to sell it to a stranger. So it's kind of more advantageous if the bottle is translucent, because that way it's just easier to judge. In other words, there are many, many fragrances out there. So we're spoiled for choice, so we can afford to be a bit picky. Next, is it locally available? And this includes international shipping, because you could hear about, oh, there's this one of a kind amazing fragrance, but if you live outside the US, it's not easy to get. So definitely that's going to be an issue. Six, probably six. Six is probably the most important, one of the most important traits is it too popular? Because fragrances are supposed to make you unique, right? Fragrances are about fashion, and the people who are fashion, they don't wear what everyone else is wearing, right? Like for men, wearing a white shirt with a black leather jacket and blue stonewashed jeans, everyone wears that. Why not go for a brown leather jacket, for example, right? I have a preference for brown jackets over black jackets, because black jackets tend to be a bit monotone, because it's going to, if you're wearing black jeans and a black jacket, that's very monotone. I would say wear black jeans and a brown jacket, because it's less monotone, right? But anyway, the point is that with style, with fragrances, with fashion, it's all about being unique. It's kind of like buying a car, right? If everyone around you, even if you're rich, if everyone around you was buying a Ferrari, a Ferrari is a good car, but you probably want to get something else. Maybe you want to get the Bentley, maybe you want to get the Aston Martin. That's why people pay ridiculous amounts of money for a car just because it's rare, like the Ferrari F40 or the Ferrari F50. Sometimes the cars may not have very high performance, but they're rare. Billionaires and millionaires get satisfied knowing only 1,000 people in the world have this car aside from me, right? So another car might look better and have better performance, but it's too common. So that's the key to being stylish. And I'll cover the specific fragrances which I think you should avoid because they are far too popular. They're good, performance is good, smell is good, but they are far too popular. And maybe I should say it later, but what I was going to say is the price of a fragrance doesn't necessarily register in a woman's mind as a man wearing the fragrance. So if it's popular, she'll probably think it's cheap, right? Because hey, so many people are wearing it. So yeah, it's popular. So yeah, it's probably very affordable. But if you wear something different that smells just as good, she'll be like, wow, this is a really cool fragrance. Wow, he knows a lot about fragrances. Wow, it must be like twice as expensive because no one else is wearing it. Especially when you wear what I call flankers. A flanker is like a house is basically like the company that makes the fragrance. So like Dior, for example, the prime fragrance is Dior Sauvage. That's their flagship. But the flankers, the fragrances, the other fragrances in the line, they have like Dior Homme Intense, right? So I was going to cover that later, but I'll just say it now. Don't buy Dior Sauvage. Everyone is wearing it. 50-year-old Australian men are wearing it. 17-year-old teenagers are wearing it. Buy Dior Homme Intense and you will get a better reaction because not everyone is wearing it. In fact, if you want to be a fragrance aficionado, walk into a store, ask the girl or the man there to recommend you a fragrance, and that's the one you should avoid. Because think about it, that's the fragrance they're recommending everyone. And the key with style is we want to be unique. We don't want to be like everyone else, right? And then the price point, as I said, you don't want to go below 100 ml for $50. And number eight is advice that kind of actually applies more to the veterans. It applies more to the fragrance freaks. The question is it limited, right? So fragrances sometimes have limited editions. For example, Jean Paul Gaultier, Lamar, they come up with different limited editions like Lamar Popeye or Lamar Superman. I really wanted to get the Popeye one. Or Angelman comes out with limited fragrances, like there's the coffee one, there's the orange zest, and there's the crypto mint. So the thing is, when you're wearing a fragrance, you want to ask yourself, like, can I still be wearing this fragrance 3 to 5 years from now? You know, you kind of want that signature scent. You kind of want to settle on your wardrobe such that it becomes automatic, that it's like brushing your teeth when you wake up in the morning. You know, you put on your clothes, you know what you're going to wear, and you know what scent you're going to put, right? That might sound a bit boring, but it's ideal in the sense that there's no point really wearing a fragrance if it's going out of stock, right? It's a limited edition. You can do that for fun, like for fun, every fragrance freak does that. But essentially the issue is that I might break this video in two later on, but anyway, the issue is that let's say you meet someone, right? Let's say you find a limited edition scent that you really like. And let's say you meet someone and that person likes you, and one of the reasons they like you is because you smell so good. And you're with them for like 2 years wearing that limited edition scent, and that's the only thing you wear. And they're like, oh, guess what? We're finished. Like, we're actually finished of that scent, never going to produce it again. So now I'm not saying she'll leave you. Obviously, she wouldn't be that shallow, but she's like, oh, wow, you know, I kind of really liked how this guy smelled, but now, you know, he's not wearing the same thing. So I wouldn't recommend stocking up your wardrobe early on with limited edition scents. That's more of for fun, you know, it's for fun, but it's kind of like excessive fashion, you know, it's kind of like haute couture, you know, where people wear things that no one is going to wear on the street, you know, it's that level of obsession, you know, that's real obsession. And trust me, it's very easy to become obsessed with fragrances. I think fragrances and watches are the two fashion items for men that are like really easy to become obsessive about. You end up with like a whole wardrobe full of cologne, or a full, or like a bag, like a, you know, like a gym bag, a duffel bag full of cologne, like different bottles clinking and clanking. Yeah, such obsessions are not too healthy, right? So basically, back to now the question, what is fashionable, right? What is fashionable when it comes to cologne, right? And there's a quote that someone said, which is, he said, everyone thinks that they look better or smell better than the average Joe, right? But quality women don't want to be the average Joe. So if you want quality women, you need to do better than the average Joe, is what I'm trying to say, right? So people may be wearing Axe deodorant or Dove deodorant or Lynx, and they're like, yeah, I smell pretty good. I smell better than most people, or average or above average. But we need to be doing better than that. It's kind of like fitness in the sense that 10 push-ups, that's just basic fitness. But if you want to be considered fit, you'd probably have to be able to do maybe 50 push-ups or at least do 20 pull-ups. Like if someone can do 20 pull-ups, I consider them very fit because that's above average fitness, right? Like well beyond above. Like, there are a lot of people who cannot do 20 pull-ups, myself included at the moment, but getting there, getting there. I think in a row, the most I can do is 12 to 15. But if you can only do 10, I mean, yeah, it's great that you can do 10, but again, that's just the average Joe. So to begin with, if you're really, really broke, or you really, really don't want to spend too much on fragrances, I suggest you get at least two fragrances to start with. The first one being Mont Blanc Legend, and the second being Versace Pour Homme, right? So Mont Blanc Legend is a very good winter fragrance, winter and autumn fragrance. It's a very good winter and autumn fragrance. So it's a bit heavy, right? With those three categories that I mentioned, citrus, sweet, and woody, in general, the citrus fragrances are the ones you want to wear in the hotter periods of the month. Because the way this list is going to go, ideally you kind of want at least one fragrance for each season, right? Because wearing fragrances is almost like wearing clothes in the sense that one, the people who are fashionable, they have more than the standard wardrobe, right? Like again, the average Joe, what does he have? He has three suits, right? Average Joe, three suits, black, navy, gray, and rotates them. But to be fashionable, you gotta have at least like 7 to 10 suits, right? Then we'll consider you fashionable. There's fashionable, there's the average Joe, there's above average, and there's like, damn, that fashionable. Like, damn, he looks good, damn, he dresses well. So if you have 7 to 10 suits, I think you're doing pretty well for yourself. At least seven, so you repeat every week rather than every other day, if that makes sense. So again, this is the lowest I would go if you don't want to get too heavily invested in Cologne. Maybe you're like, I'll just work on other areas of my life. You're like, I'll just work on being buff, or I'll just work on my wardrobe, or I'll just work on my social skills, or I just really don't give a damn. Like I kind of came here to just, I just kind of want to smell good, but don't want to heavily invest. At least get these two colognes, Mont Blanc Legend and Versace Pour Homme. So most citrus fragrances will usually use some kind of orange, but Mont Blanc Legend actually uses pineapple. And it's a really funny story how I came to love this fragrance because I was in a store and there was this like really gorgeous girl who uh was like the seller, and she was asking me which I asked her, like, which fragrances does she like, and she actually recommended Mont Blanc Legend. And at first I wasn't really sold on it. I was like, why? Like, what makes you like it so much, right? And like, yeah, it's actually good, try it. So what I like to do is I like to do double blind studies, right? I i took the fragrance and I took another fragrance which I thought smelled better, which was the Versace, and I sprayed them on two different papers. And then I approached some random girls in the store, and I was just like, "Hey, if you have a quick moment, can you tell me what you think of these fragrances?" And I thought, haha, for sure, Versace is going to win. Why is she trying to con me? And she was like, she said the Mont Blanc. She said this one. Like, I didn't tell her the title. I just handed them two pieces of paper with fragrance on them, and they're like, this one. I'm like, really? I'm like, why? Like, why? And they're like, oh, it just has a different vibe to it. It's fresh, but it has a different vibe to it. And then again, I went to a different store and I tried the same thing. I'm like, okay, what do you think of these two fragrances? I tried it, maybe some other fragrances, and again, they said Mont Blanc. So from then I was sold on it. And that's the funny thing. When you have a beginner nose when it comes to fragrances, fragrances might smell very weird to you. Like the first time I smelled Mont Blanc Legend, I swear to you, it smelled like rat poison. And I was like, why the hell would anyone like this? But you have to wait for the fragrance to dry down on the paper, then you can smell it. And your nose takes a while to get used to fragrances if you haven't been wearing them, right? So that is the base level. If you want to be better than the average Joe, have at least these two fragrances. The only problem with Versace Pour Homme, as I'll cover later, is that it's too popular. A lot of people are wearing it. A lot of people who those who don't even know about cologne, who are not that into it, are wearing it. And I'm like, I don't really want to smell like those guys. But other than that, it's good. It's pretty good, just over popular. And we said that's a problem, but it's good. So now level two, right? Because again, those two fragrances are very versatile. Mont Blanc, you could even wear Mont Blanc during spring, right? It can cover those 3 seasons. It's a bit too heavy for summer. It can't really handle the heat because, again, you want the light citrus fragrances during the summer heat because they smell fresh. And the Versace, it can even go through to autumn. It's just I wouldn't wear it in winter because you know how winter you wear like a heavy winter coat. It's the same. You kind of want a heavy fragrance to match it, a more dense, sweeter fragrance, and Versace doesn't do as well as a winter fragrance. So let's say now we're on level two, right? Both of Versace and Mont Blanc Legend, they cost then that $50 for 100, right? You can get discounts. Sometimes I've seen, $30 for 100 on fragrance.net. So you can get them discounted, but they're in the range that I'm talking about, the range you really want to be at. Yeah, so let's say you want to step up your game. You're like, okay, you're like Gitonga, these two sound good, but can we do better than that? And the answer is yes, we can, because the idea is, again, the true bare minimum. Like if you don't just do the bare minimum, you want to go beyond that, right? Because these are like doing your 10 pull-ups, but we're like, okay, let's shoot for 15, right? So what are those 15 pull-ups? What does 15 pull-ups look like in the fragrance world? That's where we have level two. So we want a fragrance for each season. So as I said, Mont Blanc Legend really shines during winter, and Versace Pour Homme really shines during summer. So what we need to do is we need to add a spring fragrance and an autumn fragrance. So now we enter Mont Blanc Individuel and Salvatore Ferragamo Uomo. So remember what I said about top notes, mid notes, and base notes. In general, the more notes a fragrance has, the better it is, right? So you want a fragrance with a lot of notes, and if we check on Fragrantica, you can see it has a lot more notes, right? It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Anyway, it has a lot more notes than Mont Blanc Legend, and that's usually a good sign, right? That is usually a good sign of a fragrance when it tends to have a lot of notes, specifically a lot of good notes. And the prime note you really get from this fragrance is the raspberry, and it is so crisp. It is so good. It is like perfect springtime fragrance, and it is still in the lower mid range, right? It's actually pretty affordable and it lasts a very long time. It lasts a very long time and the notes are good, right? So highly recommend getting it. Like definitely, how I said like the way in winter, if you're wearing a heavy coat, you want a heavy sweet fragrance. So now if you're wearing a shirt, right? Like there's no better fragrance that goes with a shirt than Mont Blanc Individual. Like if I was wearing a shirt, so also as an office fragrance, I would want to wear Mont Blanc Individual. Very, very good fragrance, very affordable, long lasting, high quality notes. Get it. Definitely get it. In fact, it's a very strong contender for if you're really cheap and only wanted one fragrance. Yeah, it would be pretty good for an all round fragrance. Next, for autumn, we have Salvatore Ferragamo Uomo. This is a really, really lovely scent. Very, very lovely. It almost smells like coffee. So I want you to picture like being in one of those log cabins after you've gone skiing in Switzerland and just the smell of coffee. That's the scent it has. And as I said, the colder months, autumn and winter, you want more of the heavy, sweeter, like the dense, sweet flavors. So Salvatore Ferragamo more good, very, very good. Another rule of thumb is that citrus fragrances tend to be generic, sweet fragrances tend to be unique. In other words, citrus fragrances all smell the same, except the ones I mentioned, like Mont Blanc and both Mont Blancs. But sweet fragrances are unique. They are very unique. So even if like a girl doesn't really like it on you, even if it's not her top 10 fragrance, she'll just be like, wow, that is unique. You know, it has that wow factor from the uniqueness alone, right? Yeah. So let's say you want to step up your game and, now you have the four bottles, right? You're doing pretty well, but you want to do even better, right? Let's go for a slightly more expensive summer cologne and a more expensive winter cologne. So we have Bulgari Aqua Amara. It is a summer cologne, extremely long lasting, 8 hours, not too expensive. It's in that mid range, middle of the mid range, nice looking bottle. And it has this dense citrus smell. So we're trying to avoid the genericness of Versace Pour Homme, but this is a very dense citrus smell that handles the whole summer. Like you put this on in the morning and you're going to bed and it's still smelling strong. That's the kind of performance we want. And then we have the Terry Mugler Angelman. Angelman is a beast. It is an absolute beast. Just dense, like really dense sweetness. Like if you've melted chocolate, like you know how you have hot chocolate, right? Now imagine me taking a pot and me just melting hot chocolate, like white chocolate, black chocolate, brown chocolate, and melting some other sweets and drinking it. That is how dense it is. That is how dense the sweetness is. Amazing. Really, really amazing. Really, really unique. Strong, long lasting, amazing projection. It is a beast for the price. It is literally one of the best values for money cologne you can get, value for money. And it is hands down the best winter fragrance I can recommend. Hands down the best. It has no competitors, right? As I said, citrus fragrances are generic. There are also a lot more of them. So spring and summer, that's when you have a lot of fragrances competing. But winter, no matter what price you have, what price you're willing to pay, Angelman by Terry Mugler, you have to get it. You have to get it if you want your winter wardrobe. Just imagine the best, like wearing the best coat you could in winter, like maybe those fur coats or something, like a coat made of foxes or something like that. That is how good it is. You need to get this for winter. You need to get it. You just need to. And then we go level three. So level three, you are starting to become a bit of a fragrance freak, right? We're in it to win it. We want to smell the best, right? We're no longer competing with the people who don't wear cologne. We're starting to compete with the people who do wear cologne, and we want to be better than them, right? This is now the ultimate level, right? The highest possible level of fragrances that you can achieve. However, these are, you have custom fragrances versus the brand fragrances. I'll get more into that later, but these are the best in terms of the brands that are fashion brands that also make clothes and make fragrances versus houses that only make fragrances. These are the best from brands, like brands in general. So for summer, the ultimate beast of summer is Bleu de Chanel. And I forgot the Terry Mugler Angelman. Again, if you spray it on paper and you smell it immediately, it's going to hurt your nose because it kind of smells like burnt rubber, but you need to let it dry first. So spray the paper, the tester paper, let it dry away from your nose. Then bring your nose, gently towards it, not right up against your nose, but gently. So I'm saying it's very weird. As a beginner, your nose reacts very weirdly to certain scents, but the more you wear them, the more you start to see the nuance and the subtleties within the scent. So, Bleu de Chanel, definitely get it. Definitely get it. It's expensive. That's the drawback. It's by Chanel. Really, really expensive. First time I smelt it, it smelled like really strong nectar. Like someone just had a drill and they're drilling through my nose to reach my skull, and the drill smelled like nectar. It's oof, powerful. This is the scent of a powerful Frenchman. Like just imagine a snobbish Frenchman that accuses you of accuses you of wearing cheap cologne, and he's like the CEO of a fashion company or so. This is what he'd wear. He'd be wearing Bleu de Chanel. Very, very powerful projection. It's just a power scent, right? It's like Superman would wear this in the summer. And it also has a smoky incest kind of incent. Or is it incent or incest? I'm confused. Has but that smoky scent to it, right? That smoky scent has not really been replicated by other fragrance houses. So very good. The drawbacks, it's now in the high end, very high end. I think it's where you're paying like $200 for like either 100 or 150 ml. So it's expensive. That's the major drawback. Very, very, very expensive. And it doesn't last as long because projection and longevity are two different things. You can have scents that project very well, but don't have as much longevity. So its longevity is basic. It's more like 5 hours. And for that price, I think it should last a bit longer. But in terms of the quality, really amazing. Definitely get it if you're in it to in it. For spring, another fragrance you can use to mix it up. I mean, Mont Blanc individual is still a very, very good spring fragrance. If you want to stick to that, that's perfectly okay. It's really okay. You don't need to get these other fragrances specifically for spring, but you have Abercrombie and Fitch First Instinct. It's kind of expensive, not as expensive as Chanel, but I try to get this one on sale. So to me, it's kind of on par with Mont Blanc Legend, but it's more expensive. And I'm like, is the expense really justified? So I try to get it on sale. If it's not on sale, I won't really buy it, but it has melon in it, and it has some other spicy, almost paprika kind of smell in it. So it's a very the spice just wakes you up. So spice and melon. It's almost like those people who take a tequila shot with salt and lemon, but now it's melon and paprika. So pretty good scent as well as for nighttime. It's also good. Then a Jean Paul Gaultier Lamar. So Lamar is a classic. I think it's as old as I am, if not older. So 1996 or 1995. Amazing. This scent is a beast. Whew, this scent is basically like a burger. Remember how I talked about fragrances having notes, right? So if you're having steak and fries or steak and potatoes, like steak, fries, and salad, that's basically three flavors, right? But Lamar is like a burger. You have the bread, right? You have the bun, you have the lettuce, you have the tomatoes, you have the pickles, you have the meat, you have the cheese, you have the ketchup. It just has so many layers. It's sweet but manly. It is literally like so good. It's just I can't really categorize it into one season, right? I just wear it when I feel like it or when it's a certain temperature, like 17 degrees or something. I just wouldn't wear it in summer because it's not, it doesn't have enough citrus to handle the heat. But it is really good. It is a, you have to get it if you're a fragrance freak, and it's a very good signature scent to have. I would argue it's one of my signature scents. Like Lamar is amazing. It is amazing and definitely get it. I just can't really slot it into a specific season, but get it. One of the ones you have to get. If I'm repeating it, it's because you have to get it. Like I'd rather you get Lamar other than Abercrombie and Fitch or Bulgari, Aqua, Amara, or maybe even Wuomo, right? Though Wuomo is good, but get it. Autumn, you have Dior Homme Intense, the flanker of Dior Sauvage. Do not get Dior Sauvage. Everyone is wearing Dior Sauvage. As I said, 50-year-olds, 17-year-olds, not very unique. Get the flanker, which is Dior Homme Intense, slightly cheaper, still from Dior. And yeah, really good. It has a sort of woody scent to it. So it really does give you that visualization of autumn with leaves falling and just the smell of. Have you ever smelled really good wood? That's what she said. Anyway, have you ever smelled really good wood and like bark or like a really well-made table? And have you also walked into a bakery and just smelled, really like the crumbs of a cake baking in an oven? Just that smell, right? So it has the smell of those crumbs. I think that's the jasmine, if I'm not wrong. I'll check later. But it's either the jasmine or the something else, plus now the woody scent. So get Dior Homme Intense. Very good. In fact, the two top fragrances for autumn are really Salvatore Ferragamo Uomo and uh, Dior Homme Intense. Then next we have Chanel Allure Homme Sport Eau Extreme. It's the flanker of Bleu de Chanel because the flagship of Bleu de Chanel is, I mean, the flagship of Chanel is Bleu de Chanel. It's really good and it's less popular than Bleu de Chanel. It's amazing. It has this mint to it. It has many layers to it. I would say like if Jean Paul Gaultier Lamar, if you're familiar with cars, Lamar is like the F40 and Allure Homme Sport is like the Ferrari Enzo. So it's like the next generation of perfection. It's the next Lamar. It's like, ooh, it's like the modern Lamar. It's really good, but more expensive. Yeah, but it's a killer, that one. It has mint in it, and the mint scent is done pretty well, right? So I can't really categorize it in a season. I just throw it there in autumn, but it's one of those ones you just wear it when you feel like, more at night though. Wouldn't really wear it too much in the day, but it has mint and citrus, but not the citrus that can handle the day. But it's really good. It's really good. It's really good. It's just pretty expensive. That's the downside to it. But if you're a fragrance freak and you really want to smell better than the rest, it's one of the ones you have to have. You gotta have this. Like all those others, all the, people wearing Dior Sauvage, people wearing Yves Saint Laurent, people wearing Armani Code. You wanna smell better than them. You need the Chanel Allure Homme Sport and you need the Lamar. These are the heavy hitters. These are the Hulk and the Thor of the Avengers, right? I've also put in Invictus, but Invictus is a sweet scent. It's a light sweet scent. It's not as dense as Angelman. From reviews and from some people I've talked to, they like it. They really, really like it. It has strong projection, strong longevity. I just don't like it that much. I just don't like it that much, but it's one of those ones to have as a fragrance freak. Not too important. It's one of those ones like if you like this, definitely get it. If you don't like it, you can skip it. You can stick to the Chanel. I think as a man, you'd probably enjoy the Chanel a bit more, but don't get upset when a girl tells you she prefers Invictus because she might. It's rated pretty highly on many people's lists. It's rated pretty high. And then there's Azaro Wanted. Azaro Wanted is is basically the bootleg Invictus, but my God, it smells horrible. It smells horrible. It has these gooseberries. And remember what I said earlier, don't force yourself to wear a scent you don't like, no matter how good it is, right? There's also Wanted by Night, which smells like less worse. But again, don't force yourself. You don't have to force yourself. But if you do like it, then congratulations, because you found a winner. You've really found a winner. Next, some other office scents. Again, winter, I don't have anything more because I said Angelman, you're good. If you have Angelman, you're good for winter. Office scents, in addition to individual, you have Aqua Dijo, Profumo. Profumo is the denser version. There's the regular version, but it's too light. The problem with Aqua Dijo is one, I think it's the most popular cologne, and two, it's expensive. So it's the most popular high-end cologne. Like those people who really are into cologne, like maybe people who actually are working like 25 and above, they'd be wearing Aqua di Gio. But frankly, I have not met anyone in Australia wearing Aqua di Gio, and I've been there for like 3 years. So it's good. It's a very good office scent, very clean, fresh scent. You can get it as well. See what you think about it. I just think individual is kind of better overall. But if you're looking for another scent, you have money and you're like, let's keep going, let's get more scents, you can get it. Yves Saint Laurent, I actually hate this scent. It's so good, it's so popular, but I hate it. Right? According to reviewers and according to people I've talked to, they love it. I hate it. It kind of has smells like a rose, a crushed rose stem, like the stem of a rose crushed. Um, it's pretty good. If you like it, congratulations, you found a winner. But personally, I can't recommend you really wear it if you don't like it, because for me, it's kind of like a citrus fragrance, but it doesn't have enough citrus to handle the summer. So it's an autumn scent, but I like to go a bit heavier for autumn. I like the Salvatore Ferragamo Uomo, or I like the Dior Homme Intense. So the Yves Saint Laurent is not really my vibe. I don't like it, but if you like it, go for it. And New Year's, I have a very special scent called Mont Blanc Legend Spirit. Oh, Mont Blanc is just the best house when it comes to affordable fragrances. So it is so special. It has this sweetness to it that is so special that I would only wear it on New Year's. Not literally, like not literally, but I would either only wear it on New Year's or wear it on a first date. Like if you were to ask me best first date colognes, it would probably be well, aside, let's exclude summer, but let's say I would wear Legend Spirit, Lamar, or Allure Homme Sport, or even Bleu de Chanel if it is summer. Or, yeah, I already mentioned them all. But I would also consider Mont Blanc Legend Spirit. I think it would make a really, really good impression on someone. If I was going for a job interview and the interviewer was female, I would wear Mont Blanc Legend Spirit. Really, really good one. So again, what does a good wardrobe look like? Because I broke those into 3 tiers based on price point. But let's say you have all the money in the world. What does a good wardrobe look like? Get both of the Chanels, get the Lamar, get the Dior, get the Wuomo, get the Angelman, get all of the Mont Blancs. And yeah, those would be my priority. And now fragrances to avoid. Dior Sauvage, I've said avoid it. Versace Pour Homme, too popular. Dunhill, terrible. 1 million, it's not really that 1 million is bad. It's just cheaper than Invictus. Both are by Paco Rabanne. So everyone is wearing 1 million because they're too cheap to buy Invictus, and it's not that much more expensive. Get the Invictus. Everything by Ralph Lauren is terrible. CK One Shock is horrendous. Don't get Creed Aventus. Creed Aventus is the arguably the best cologne, arguably. Get Armoire Reflection Man because everyone is wearing Creed Aventus, even bootleg Creed Aventus. And that's the irony. Like I told you, something can be expensive, but if so many people are wearing it, people will think it's not unique. People, you don't tell someone the price of the cologne, right? Or even if you tell someone the price of the cologne, if a lot of people are wearing it, they'll still think it's affordable. They're like, oh, because the one of the it's either one of two reactions. It's either one, they don't know the price, so they think it's cheap, or two, they know the price, but because everyone is wearing it, they think that there's still other more expensive cologne out there. So Creed Aventus is very overrated. You can get it if you have, $400 just lying around for a 125 ml bottle. You can get it. I suggest Amouage Reflection Man. It's a better cologne. Davidoff Cool Water, don't get it. It's terrible. Bentley Intense, horrendous. It is the worst one on the list. Like in terms of not even that it's popular, but just that it smells horrendous. Do not get Bentley Intense. There's a fragrance by Mercedes-Benz, don't get it. Angelman, Crypto Mint, I didn't like it. And all the other cheap stuff, don't get it. So now let's just look at some of the ones I mentioned. But they also Dolce and Gabbana, the one, get that for autumn. It's pretty good. So we'll just look at some of the ones I mentioned online and we'll see how they do in terms of price. So here I am on fragrance.net. And I think they do worldwide shipping and they have very good rates, very, very good rates. So 1.7 Oz, I think that's a 50 liter. 3.3 is the 100. Of course, it's cheaper per liter the higher you go, and they have a 200 ml bottle. It's $46 with the coupon. I think I've gotten it cheaper because of the sales and the discount. But yeah, $46. So again, it's that 50 dollars per 100 ml. That is the base point we're starting at. I want to show you the Lamar bottle. It's very kinky. It's very, very kinky bottle. Let's see. Oh my God, Ultramal. That was a very, very good limited edition fragrance, but as I said, you shouldn't get it. Wow, I don't think they have it at the moment, but I'll just search the Lamar Jean Paul Gaultier Lamar, just so you get an idea of how it looks. This is how the bottle looks. Again, very kinky, comes in a can, an actual can, but it's very easy to decant from because the top comes off easily. You can use your atomizer, and it doesn't have a cover, but it has that piece of metal with the loop that prevents the spray from being sprayed on. I think it's a novelty. It's a fun bottle, not in a gay way. Like, no offense to gays. I don't mind gay people, but I think it's a cool bottle. Like, it's fun having a bottle um that's not the usual square shape. So there's two Chanels, there's Allure Homme Sport and there's Allure Homme Sport O Extreme. I don't think they have it at this time. They have the refills. I guess it's a pretty rare one. Spray refillable. These are the refillables. Let me just show you how it looks, because again, it is pretty good. I won't show you all of them. I'll just show you some of them, right? This is how it looks. Very simple bottle. Get the O Extreme. The other one is too weak. A very simple bottle, but very good. Very, very good. I'll show you the Bleu de Chanel as well. Bleu de Chanel, 3 audit alerts, but what? They don't have it? How can they not have it? How can they not have it? They just have this. Because I was trying to illustrate the price, but it's pretty expensive. Pretty expensive. I hope they have Dior Homme Intense. Dior Homme Intense. I think even the regular Dior Homme is fine. I don't think it's that bad. But yeah, this is another fragrance. So you see, you see the price is steepening, right? So $118 for 100 ml. Probably can get it at 100 when there's a sale. This is Australian dollars, by the way. Yeah, so that's another one. Oh yeah, I have to show you the Ferragamo Wuomo bottle. It's very, very cool. Very, very cool. Yeah. Look at that cool bottle. Really well designed bottle. Price with coupon, you see $56. Really affordable, really great performance. The Angelman bottle, that one you can't really decant from it. There's another one I forgot to mention, Tom Ford Noir. It's like the more expensive Mont Blanc Legend. Yeah, it's pretty good. It also has that pineapple scent. So basically what I'm trying to say is Creed Aventus is the best, and one of the reasons it's the best is because it has pineapple. Tom Ford Noir is cheaper, has pineapple. This is for the decant, right? The $23, not for the full bottle. Yeah, so this one is the cheaper version of that. So it's maybe like $70 to $100 for 100 ml, right? So it's cheaper than Creed Aventus, but has pineapple in it, and the cheapest fragrance with pineapple is Mont Blanc Legend. Those are, have at least one pineapple fragrance in your wardrobe. And let me just show you Dolce and Gabbana, the one. It has a sort of honey and tobacco scent. Very good for autumn. Very, very good. Yeah, you can get this for autumn as well. If you want something a bit sweeter. On the spectrum, like you have Dior Homme Intense, then you have the one, and then you have Angelman. So it's like beginning, like if you're to look at, say, the middle of autumn, right? Like the beginning of autumn to the middle, I would wear Dior Homme Intense. Then the end of autumn and the beginning of winter, I would wear Dolce and Gabbana the one, and the rest of winter I would wear Angelman. I don't know if I showed you the Angelman bottle. You can't decant it, so I don't really like it. Real beast, real beast, real beast. So, yep, I think I will end the video there. And if you have any questions, comments, like and subscribe, leave the comments. I'll see you guys in the next one. I hope the images were enough. Maybe let me just show the Lamar. I think I just have to show the fragrance notes for Lamar. Then we'll end the video. Lamar. I mean, I wanted to end this video before 1 hour, but really, if you've been here this whole time, then surely does a few extra minutes matter. The lavender, it has lavender, mint, which is good, cinnamon, vanilla, tonka bean, which is kind of like vanilla as well. Amber is amazing. Amber is the main note in the one that gives it its sweetness, and sandal and cedar wood. So those I would say are the amazing notes. And then we have Allure, Sport, Extreme. Video is longer than I wanted, but screw it. So yeah, the mandarin, orange, and mint are very strong, as well as the sage. The sage kind of gives it this greasy sort of like the stuff they put on your hair when you leave the barber. Lamar also has that kind of smell, but it also has the mint. So what Lamar doesn't have is the orange and the musk. It doesn't have the musk as well. So yeah, those are the fragrances I really wanted to cover. I've shown you the bottles, I've shown you where to buy them, I've shown you where to look up the notes. You can sign up to Fragrantica. You don't have to, you can just sign up to comment. They don't pay me, I don't pay them. Yeah. And again, if you have any questions, just ask and I'll address them in the next video. All right, cheers.